Welcome to 514 Sports with Paul Decary. Today is Tuesday, May 11th, 2021. This is the day after the Montreal Canadiens have finally clinched their playoff spot for the 2020-21 season. So today we'll be talking about several aspects of the Canadiens. We've got to start with them. We're 514 Sports for a reason. I'll be talking about Conor McDavid. Obviously, you got to speak about Conor McDavid. He's wow, he just continues to amaze. We've got the dreaded Toronto Maple Leafs division title, first division win in about 20 years or so. We'll talk about that a little bit. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about Pierre Raccicot. He's an NHL linesman who lined his last NHL game this past Saturday down in Florida. He's a local guy, so we're going to speak about him a little bit. So let's start with our Habs. Well, the Habs are struggling Canadians. They're struggling to the finish line, that's for sure. They did lose their fourth in a row last night, but they did make it into the playoffs. Not through the back door. They did actually earn that point, but they didn't go through the front door, that's for sure. I'm going to say they went through the side door. Losing that game in overtime, I guess it didn't really make a big difference. They needed the point. They got the point. It was against the Edmonton Oilers, the high-flying Conor McDavid. It wasn't pretty, but we got it done. I mean, the Habs have been struggling with a 4-7 record in their last 11, but it's not that surprising that we're struggling this much at this point in time. Jake Allen has been playing about 85% of the games. Jake Allen, when we signed him, excellent backup, but we always said he's a great backup. He's not a number one, but he doesn't have to be a number one. He's not going to play against the big games. Well, now he is playing the big games. He's doing okay. He's doing fine, but he's not number one. If Carey Price can come back and be the Carey Price we saw last year in the bubble, in the play-in against Pittsburgh, well, we've got a chance. Price will not be back. We've got one game left. He's not going to play it. Probably see Caden Primo, I think, tomorrow night. Well, we'll see. Perhaps it'll be Jake Allen. But once we get Price back, there's Gallagher, who's also out. Heart and soul of the team. Once Brendan Gallagher gets back, that's going to change a lot of things. We're going to have, he's our spark plug. When Brendan Gallagher's playing at his best, the Canadiens are a different team. Shea Weber's out as well. Captain Shea Weber. He's had an up and down season, but he's still a big threat on the power play. He's got that booming slap shot. He's a leader in the room. He's the captain. He can throw that big body check. We don't see it as much as we'd like, but getting Shea Weber, it'll be a positive. There's also Phillip Danault. Phillip Danault, hopefully he's got a concussion, and hopefully he'll be back in time for the playoffs. It's looking like he will. There's another week before the playoffs start for the Canadiens. I believe it's not this coming Saturday, it's the Saturday after. Phillip Danault, we all crapped on him a little bit earlier this season. He didn't score for 20 or so games. He's got up to 5. It's not great, but Phillip Danault does so much. He covered McDavid most of the season up until last night's game, and he did a fairly good job. He's there for the big face-offs. We're going to need Phillip Danault back, especially with our center position right now. It's not looking very solid. Nick Suzuki's doing well. Can't complain about Nick Suzuki. He's doing fine. Jake Evans, he's a good fourth-line center. He had a great game last night. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But our other two centers right now, Eric Stahl, can't say too much positive things about Eric Stahl right now. Not impressive whatsoever. And Jesperi Kotkaniemi, he's not pulling his weight right now. We'll talk about him as well in a little bit. Well, at least we're going to the playoffs. Back in the day, the Habs' goal was to win the Stanley Cup, and now it seems like Marc Bergevin said, well, we're going to get into the playoffs, and then we'll see what happens. Last night's game. We'll talk about last night's game. That was it was interesting. Edmonton. Wow, what a line though. Evans, Byron, and Lehkonen. I mean, if these guys can continue to play like this, wow. They accounted for all the Canadiens' goals, all 3 goals. They even had a goal called back, which was offside. Yes, it was. But they did actually score that 4th goal. But 1 goal each. So they accounted for 3 goals and 5 assists last night. It was amazing to see this line pull together like that. And they did all this while their assignment for the night was to keep an eye on and check the Conor McDavid line. So this is something that Jake Evans one day might be giving Philip Deneau a run for his money as the shutdown center, but right now, with the options that we have, I'd like to get Deneau back so we can have Evans playing like this and have Deneau in the lineup at the same time. Byron, he just looked great. He was speedy. Byron missed the last 9 games with a lower body injury. Recording last night his 200th and 201st points. 200 points for a little guy, it's pretty decent. It was a great line. Evans, his first 3-point NHL game of his career, 1 goal, 2 assists, and Lehkonen, also a 3-point game. His first 3-pointer since November 23rd, 2019, versus the New York Rangers. Anyway, this line's got to keep going. This line, if they can keep them together like that, let's do it. I know these 3 guys have all been in and out of the lineup on a couple of occasions, and it just seems easy. You take them out, you're not going to stir the pot. But right now, if they keep playing like that, there's no way they can take them out. Now, when we get the injuries back, when Gallagher's back, it's not. It's got to be Stahl. Stahl's got to come out for Philip Deneau. Let's just hope there's a rumor circulating that when Eric Stahl was traded to the Canadiens, he did waive his no movement clause, so he would accept the trade to the Canadiens. And there's a rumor that he had made a under the table secret handshake deal with GM Marc Bergevin that in order for him to waive that no movement clause and be traded to Montreal, the deal is he's not going to be a healthy scratch. So hopefully if this agreement is true, let's hope this doesn't apply into the playoffs, because he's got to get out when Deneau's back. There's no speed there. He's not winning faceoffs. And then when Gallagher gets back, I don't know. Does Cole Caulfield come out? Perhaps he's doing okay, but he's not being used enough. Maybe Corey Perry comes out. We'll see. They've got a few options. There's going to be a few decisions to make from Mr. Dominic Ducharme. So back to removing guys from the lineup. Like I said, Stahl, he's got to come out for Deneau. KK is another option, though. If Stahl does have this deal with Bergevin, maybe Kotkaniemi comes out. He looks lost out there. He's not confident. He's getting knocked down all the time. He's getting rid of the puck. He's just not in his element right now. I don't know what he needs. Maybe sit him up in the stands for a little bit. He's just not the player that he was. Maybe a healthy scratch is something that we can see in the future for Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Anyway, let's move on to another topic, probably the weekly Conor McDavid update. Well, last time we talked, McDavid was, I believe, at 91 points, approaching the 100, and then he played the Vancouver Canucks, a total of 4 times in a row. I think there was 1 last week and then 3 since we spoke. In those 4 games, he picked up 13 points. Just a nice little, so 9 points in the last 3 games to hit the 100-point total. In his 53rd game of the year, I watched it live Saturday night. The Oilers beat the Canucks 4-3, and McDavid had 1 goal and 3 assists. Just fantastic, and he even took the third period off pretty much. He got his 4 points in 2 periods. This guy is something. He even picked up 2 more points last night against the Canadiens. Didn't play much. I think he played about 17 minutes going into the overtime. And normally plays about 22 or so. Just they rested him a little bit, and he still ended up with an assist in regulation, and obviously he pots the game winner in overtime. But just watching this guy, it's a treat. If we do, like I said last week, if we get to see McDavid against the Habs in the playoffs, I'm looking forward to it. If not, maybe if the Habs hit the Leafs in the playoffs, we can knock the Leafs out and hit the Oilers from the second round. Hey, that would be great too. That would be a double bonus there. So McDavid can add to his historical season tomorrow, May 12th, with his last game against the Habs' last game of the season, and then the Oilers close out the season Saturday, May 15th, against Vancouver. So he's been owning Vancouver this season. So if he's playing, maybe they'll rest him to give him a break for the playoffs. But I know he's a competitor and he just wants to play. So we'll move on to our negative story of the week. This one's a little bit. A little humorous. Our negative story of the week is the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs have finally won a division title for the first time since 1999-2000 season, when they were led by Mats Sundin and goaltender Curtis Joseph. They finished atop of the Northeast Division that season, ahead of the Senators, Sabres, Habs in fourth, and the Boston Bruins in last. So that kind of put a smile on my face. The Leafs winning the division, but at least the Bruins were last. They did okay in the playoffs. Well, they lost in the second round in the playoffs to the eventual Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils. So the Leafs this year clinched first place, so they're waiting to see who they're going to play. It looks like it'll be the Habs, but it's not for sure yet, so it'll either be the Montreal Canadiens or the Winnipeg Jets in the first round, and either series will be very interesting. I hope the Habs do end up with the Leafs, but like I said, I hope it's in the second round, and we get Edmonton the first round, knock them out, so we can see Conor McDavid, and then we can play the Leafs. So I'd like to give a little shout out to a Verdun native, a former Lac St. Louis region referee, Pierre Raccicot. Pierre Raccicot, he reffed in Lac St. Louis, which is where I refereed for 10 years in the late 90s. Or throughout the 90s. Pierre was there a little bit before I was, but he's an inspiration for all referees that come through the system. Pierre ended up doing 28 years in the NHL. He's now living in near Fort Lauderdale, and his last game was this past Saturday between the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's had quite the remarkable career. 1,830 regular season games, 254 playoff games, including 10 Stanley Cup finals. He refereed in 2 World Cup tournaments in 2004 and 2016, and he was also one of the linesmen in the 2006 Winter Olympics in Torino, Italy. Another highlight of Pierre's career was he did the 2009 NHL All-Star Game, which was held here in Montreal. That must have been a treat for Pierre. So congratulations, Pierre. Hope you enjoy your retirement, and hopefully you get to stay down in Florida and enjoy the sunshine. So as I mentioned earlier, with all the injuries the Habs are dealing with, I'd just like to send out some good vibes to Jonathan Drouin. Drouin left the team for personal reasons on April 28th, and in respecting his privacy, little is known about when he will return. I just hope he's doing better, and we just hope to see him back in the NHL. Whether it's with the Montreal Canadiens or whether it's with another team. I just want to see the kid do well. He's a good guy. He's had a rough season, and mental health, it's not something to take lightly, and it affects all of us. So if you guys need to talk, just pick up the phone and call someone. Call a friend. Call your boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, father, son, daughter. Just this is serious stuff, and it's affecting professional athletes as well. So that's it, Jonathan. I hope you get back soon, and maybe you can help the Habs in the playoffs, and that would be great there. Well, that's it for now there. Thanks for listening, everybody, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Have a great week.